They are man's closest relatives, sharing 98.7% of DNA with us. The chimpanzees, endemic to very few countries in Africa, Uganda inclusive, are under threat of extinction.
The current status isn't good. Between 1999 and 2002, a comprehensive nationwide assessment was done, and the population at that time stood at 4,950. A recent study of 2020 reveals that the population hasn't increased significantly. We have about 5,000 chimpanzees.
These animals are much sought after by tourists, and this contributes significantly to the country's tourism revenue, only second to gorillas.
We are so far collecting about 6.4 billion annually from chimpanzee tourism. And here we are talking about only revenue from Uganda Wildlife Authority, but not mentioning the central forest reserves, where some of the chimps are habituated and also generating revenue.
Beyond the tourism, they are also of great ecological importance as they help in seed dispersal. However, their habitats are fast diminishing, a situation that has caused them to raid communities, leading to increased incidents of human-wildlife conflict.
As the habitat diminishes, we've had experiences of, chimpanzees getting exposed or being cut off from their connectivity with the main forests. And for the most part, of course, we have these chimpanzees living in national parks. So the idea is how we interest the owners of the land, especially for the private owners and communities, to appreciate the species by making it profitable for them, by making it of interest, that they have reason to conserve these natural habitats. And when we lose pristine forests, we lose habitat as well as potential habitat for the chimps.
While the human population grows, the forests where the chimpanzees live are growing smaller.
And the people are having a large take on the forests, which they consider have no ownership. Then the home of the chimpanzee has been decreasing.
Concerns over the attacks, especially on children, have been raised, with some communities threatening to mobilize masses to kill the chimps. In a recent emergency meeting called in Mitoma district, the Deputy Speaker Thomas Tayewa challenged Uganda Wildlife Authority to focus on preventing attacks. The authority has often been accused of concentrating on wildlife but ignoring the plight of the affected communities.
We don't care about chimpanzees more than humans, but if we don't protect the environment from which we share, eventually the humans will also be affected.
The Acting Commissioner for Wildlife Conservation in the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, George Owesigira, says of the areas of focus in the new strategy is increasing awareness and strengthening monitoring and enforcement.
The strategy seeks to reverse the current threats that affect chimpanzee conservation, but also promote peaceful coexistence between humans and chimpanzees, but also enhance the harnessing of benefits from chimpanzee conservation.
The Executive Director of Jane Goodall Institute, James Byamukama, says chimpanzees are a flagship species in Uganda and harmony should be created between wildlife and humans for us to be able to coexist.
There is no way that people can live without the other aspects of the environment, because God created us to live complementing and supporting each other. So it's very crucial and very critical that we should have a chimpanzee strategy that brings all the other stakeholders, the people, but also the chimpanzees who may not have a voice.
For the most part, improving livelihoods through conservation is the way to go.
Raise awareness so that communities are able to appreciate that we have a very important resource, and the chimpanzees are not very dangerous animals.
Benjamin Jumbe, NTV Weekend Edition.